In this video, we're going to study another wonderful gospel pianist. His name is KALEB BRASEE. I'm going to leave a link to his YouTube channel in the description box below so that you can go check out his play after watching this video. We're going to see that he plays very simple but exceptionally beautiful. So we're going to be observing his playing style. We're going to see how he approaches playing hymns. That is the way he plays the melody of the hymn with his right hand. We're going to see some of the things he's doing with his left hand, some of the left hand accompany pattern that he uses. And this could be very helpful to you, especially if you're a beginner just new to playing church hymns. We're also going to see some of the passing chord that he uses when playing the hymn and many more, okay? So there are actually a lot of things to learn from this video. So with all that being said, let's see what we can learn from this wonderful gospel pianist. So the first thing we're going to do is to observe what he's doing with both his right and left hand. Perhaps we could learn one or two things from his approach. So let's play it right now and see what we can learn. So starting from the right hand, if you observe the way he was playing the melodic line on his right hand, you're going to see that he was harmonizing the melody, okay? So he wasn't just playing the melody in single note form like this. Okay, so instead of playing the melody with single notes, he was playing them with chords like this. Okay, you can see I'm using chords instead of just playing it with single notes, okay? And this is actually something we can learn from this pianist. So the general idea to soloing the melodic line of songs with chords on your right hand is to always keep the melodic note as the highest note in the chord, okay? That's just the general idea of soloing the melodic line of songs with chords on the right hand, okay? So what I mean by keeping the melodic note as the highest notes in the chord that's on your right hand. So for example, let's say the melodic line of a particular song is this at this particular moment, that is C. So what this means is that most often we're going to play a chord that contains C, okay? So it could be maybe C major chord. You can see this chord, it contains C, okay? It could be maybe A minor chord, which is this. You can see it contains C, which is this. It could be any chord at all. Maybe this chord, you can see it contains C, okay? So for example, let's say we are picking A minor chord. What we're going to do is that we're going to voice this chord in a way that the melody, which is C in this case, remember I'm just giving an example, we're going to voice it in such a way that C is going to be the highest note in the chord, okay? So instead of playing the chord like this, we're going to play it like this, we're going to voice it like this, okay? So this is also A minor chord, but a different chord voicing compared to this. And the reason I'm voicing it like this is so that the melody, which is C in this case, will be kept as the highest note in the chord. So when we say a note is the highest note in the chord, it means the note is the last note by the right, which is this, because it has the highest pitch and it is more audible to our ear, okay? So you know that most often the melody of any hymn or any song at all we might be playing, we're going to pick those melodic notes from the notes of the scale of that particular key. So remember now we're in the key of F. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. These are the notes that make up the F major scale, okay? So most often the melodic note we're going to be playing is going to fall within this note, okay? So it's going to be one or more of these notes. It's just going to be in different combination, okay? So what I'm going to do right now is that I'm going to give you some sort of chord templates that you can use in place of each of these diatonic notes in the scale, which we are going to be using as the melody, okay? So this is what I mean. So instead of playing the first note of the scale, which is this, as single note form, whenever you're soloing, you can play it like this. Okay, so this is a chord you can use in place of this, okay? So instead of playing the 1, you can play it like this in chord formats. You can use these chord templates, okay, when soloing. Instead of playing the 2, most times I use this, okay? I use this chord templates. Instead of playing the 3, most times I use this. I use this chord as the 3. So instead of playing the 4, you can use this. You can see this. This is a chord, but we're keeping the melody, which is this as the highest note. Instead of playing the 5th note as a melody, you can play it like this in chord formats. Most often I play it like this. Instead of playing the 6, you can either play this or this. Okay, instead of playing the 7, you can play it like this. Instead of playing the 1, you can play it like this. Okay, or sometimes I play the 1 like this. Okay, because the melody is the most important thing. It must be the highest note in the chord. So instead of playing the melody or the lyrics of the hymn with single note like this, I need you, Lord, I need you. Okay, we're going to be using the chord template I taught you just right now in place of each of this melody. Okay, like this. Okay, so you can see I was replacing each of the melody with their respective chord. The only challenging part might be sitting down and taking your time to master all those chord templates that I gave you. And it's not a strict rule. The key thing to keep in mind is that we just want the melody to always be the highest note in the chord. So now that we've learned what he was doing with his right hand, let's see how he was playing the hymn with his left hand. Perhaps we can learn 1 or 2 left hand accompany pattern from the way he plays. So here we go. So if you pay attention to what he's playing, you see most of what he's using on his left hand is just plain power chords, okay? And sometimes he just adds some other couple of notes to the power chord. And that's why I keep emphasizing that instead of using basic triad chord on the left hand like most beginners would do, using something like this, okay? Maybe this. You can see I'm using triad chord on the left hand. So instead of using triad chord on your left hand, you can replace the chord voicing that you use on your left hand with power chord and some other beautiful voicings you were using, something like this. Okay, so some of the chord voices you can use on your left hand other than the triad chord are power chords. So instead of playing F triad chord, for example, you replace it with the power chord form of this chord. So building power chords is very simple. For example, if you want to build triad chord on the first chord in the key of F, instead of playing it like this in the basic triad form, we're going to remove the third note of the chord and we replace it with the first note again in the next octave. Okay, so just kind of 1, 5, and 1. Okay, so that's the power chord form for the first chord in the key of F. And also the second chord, instead of playing the 2 like this, you remove the middle note and replace it with this same note again in the next octave, which is this. The same thing for the 3. Instead of playing the 3, you remove this and replace it with this, and so on. Okay, another beautiful left hand accompany pattern you can use is combining both the power chord and triad chord on the left hand, and it sounds something like this. Watch this. So this is what I'm playing. For example, instead of playing the 1 as just power chord form on my left hand, what I do, I play power chord and then on the next octave, I play the triad chord like this. So it's going to be something like this, this plus this. Okay, so we can say this is a power chord and this is a triad chord. Okay, so you combine both to create this beautiful left hand voicing for each of the chords. So we're going to now arpeggiate this chord like this. We're going to play it like this. You see that? Okay. You can even add this again. So you do the same thing for all the chords. The 3, the 4. You see that? Very beautiful left hand voicing you can use in your hymns. Okay. So the last thing we're going to learn from this beautiful pianist are some passing chords that he was using. Okay, we're going to learn some passing chords that we can use, and perhaps we can also use them in our hymns. Okay, so let's see some of the passing chords he was using. So if you observe very well, you're going to see he used the third chord as a passing chord to get to the 4, and we can implement the same thing in our hymns. Okay, he did something like this. See that? So instead of just going directly to the 4 like this, pam pam, pa 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 pam, he did something like this, pam. Okay, you use the 3. Okay, so this is something we can use in our hymns. Okay, so let's use it in another hymn, for example, bringing in the shifts, something like this. So you can see I use the 3rd chord to get to the 4. 3 to the 4. Okay, then I go back to the 1. Okay, and so on. So you can use the same concept in many other hymns. Okay, so let's continue and see some other concept we can learn from the way he plays his hymns. Okay, so you can see what we did there. Did something like this. Okay, again. Okay, so you use the 6 as a passing chord to get to the 5, like this. This is the 6. Okay, on the left hand, the 6. Okay, so use the 6 to get to the 5. Okay, so this is also something you can apply in your hymns. Whenever you're heading to the 5, you can just use the 6 chord as a passing chord to get to the 5. Let's proceed with the last one. So you can see there, he used the 4 to get to the 5 again, like this. Okay, you see, use the 4 like this. Bam, bam, ba, 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 bam, bam, bam. Okay, this is the 4 on my left hand. Bam, bam. Okay, so the tension from the 4 just propelled it to the 5. Bam, bam.